Ho, ho, ho!
Ho, 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 diva. May I call you diva?
I think that was the gayest, like, ho, 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 sis, oh, grrr.
Oh, grrr. Oh, ho, ho, grrr.
Christmas is coming, and so am I. Oh, God, that was an awful way to start. I'm rolling with it. Sure. Hi, okay. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It's not quite Christmas, but let's say it is, because I think we need to drag it out. I think the pre-Christmas period, it's over too soon. I'm pre-mourning Christmas. I'm really sad.
You're in a January mindset already.
I'll tell you what it is, Dan. I'll tell you what it is. My dear boyfriend had his 30th birthday celebrations last night, and you were there.
I was.
And I know you were there because I've got video clips of you belting Wicked in my kitchen.
I forgot I put that on my close friend's story.
I just put it on my friend's story.
Yeah.
And I drank an awful lot of wine.
Yes.
And I don't feel very well today. I feel like that kid on CBBC. I feel sort of sad inside.
But I'm having a good time. No, me too.
I'm having a good time, but I feel sort of sad inside.
I rolled in to my flat at like 4 a.m. and I wanted food, but I was like, I'm not ordering food. So I just air fried like an entire pack of like party spring rolls that I had in the freezer. And then I'm still me because I can't just do that. So then I had these two little like dip ramekins, one full of ketchup and one full of sweet chili dip. So I was like lying in bed, like half naked, chowing down these spring rolls before falling asleep while it was getting light. Oh, God.
How lovely. God, I love that. Yeah, I'm having more an emotional than a physical hangover today.
Yeah.
I'm feeling I ended up watching the first Sex and the City movie.
I'm so sorry.
All the way through, and we paused it. I know, we paused it. The second one's quite good. It's not good. It's awful, but it's entertaining. But the first one's just not good. It's just watching like a really long series of episodes mashed into one. And we paused it at what we thought must be nearly the end, and there was still an hour left, and it turns out it's a 2.5 hour film. Like,
that's
is that not
bananas.
Pretty much the length of Wicked?
That literally is like 10 minutes shorter than Wicked, and like,
yeah,
that's baffling to me. I have never been a Sex and the City partaker myself. It's just never appealed to me, and I don't think I'd want to sit through 2.5 hours of it. I'm so sorry to everyone who loves it.
The characters aren't good people, and they're not likable. So,
well, my viewing day was complete opposite. I was actually filling in on this before we record. I had a day to myself because no one was in the flat, and I was like a bit hungover, and I was like, what do I want to do? And I was doing some art while watching Doctor Who. Baby, I went on a stream train. I watched 2 episodes of Series 4, an episode of Series 2, an episode of Series 3. I watched the episode we're talking about today. I watched the Star Beast, and then I watched 2 episodes of Series 6. All just throughout this, but I was like randomly hopping throughout all the different series. So I found myself, I watched the episode we're talking about today, and then I watched a couple more, and I found myself feeling I needed to make notes on other episodes. And I was like, no, not that one, just this.
No, I can just watch.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we're going to talk about them all right now.
Here we go. Get ready, strap in and buckle up, baby.
Buckle up. No, I was getting to my particularly delicate point in the afternoon. I was like, right, I now need to watch The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. Will this make things better or worse? I was interested to see. And it was during this episode, without spoiling anything, that I realised that I probably am feeling quite fragile today. There's a few points.
Yeah.
There were a few points where I realised that even when nothing really that emotional was happening, I would just feel that kind of guttural kind of like, ooh, feeling of like the tears kind of hitting the back of the eyes, just like, ooh.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hold that down. Let's not.
I found that like throughout watching this, one of the episodes I watched was The Idiot's Lantern, and the bit when, I mean, it's meant to be like an intense scene, but when Tommy is like telling his dad that he's like, stands up to his dad, I was there welling up. I was like, yeah, you do. And that's when I was like, I might be a little bit hungover.
I might not be very well. I think I've run out of serotonin.
Exactly. I'm all out today.
It's still good. Anyway, before that, what do we normally do? What's the order?
Well, I'm going to give listen, everyone. Like I said, we're a little bit hungover. We're gonna rumble through this. We're rumbling through the jungle.
What's happening?
I'm going to give you a little bit of context about the episode. So, Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe came out on the 25th of December 2011, written by our Lord and Saviour Stephen Moffat. It was directed by Farron Blackburn with an overnight viewership of 10.77 million, which is bananas, and an IMDb score of 7.1 out of 10.
I love a Christmas ratings boost. I just do.
Yeah, it really does zhuzh it up. And for
it does.
anyone who hasn't seen this episode before, it's on iPlayer. Go give it a watch. They really are. I think I've said it on the pod before. They really are stripping back Doctor Who things on iPlayer. Like, you can't watch the Daleks in colour anymore. There's loads of classic episodes they've taken off. It's mad to me that they're taking all this away. I know it's like a licensing thing, but still.
Is the Whoniverse over? Is it over before it began?
It's over. I'm so sorry.
Done.
I'm sorry to that.
I'm sorry, guys. When we said the whole back catalogue, no,
No.
that was a time-bound thing.
Exactly. Well, look, while it is still on iPlayer, go give it a watch. But if you would like a recap of the story, here you go.
The episode opens with the Doctor narrowly escaping a spaceship explosion and falling to Earth wearing a spacesuit he hurriedly put on while falling, meaning his helmet is accidentally on backwards. He crash lands on Earth, where he's found by Madge Arwell, who helps him back to his TARDIS. Well, not the right police box to start. The Doctor promises to repaint her kindness someday.
3 years later, during World War II, Madge is living in England with her 2 children, Cyril and Lily. Her husband, Reg, a pilot in the RAF, has gone missing and is presumed dead after his plane disappears over the English Channel. Madge, heartbroken but determined, decides not to tell her Christmas the devastating news before Christmas, hoping to preserve their Christmas joy.
The family evacuates to a countryside estate for safety during the war. Upon arrival, they're greeted by the eccentric caretaker, who just so happens to be the Doctor, repaying Madge's earlier kindness. The Doctor has prepared the house with whimsical surprises for the children, including a giant, glowing Christmas present in the living room. Cyril can't wait for Christmas morning to open the gift, so he sneaks a look inside and finds it is a portal to a snowy alien forest.
Ooh, Cyril ventures through the portal, followed by the Doctor and Lily. They discover that the forest is alive with sentient trees that are trying to escape the planet, as it's about to be destroyed by acid rain from a nearby mining operation. The trees need a host to preserve their life essence, and after manifesting as a wooden king and queen, they choose Cyril as their preliminary vessel.
Meanwhile, Madge, searching for her children, has also entered the portal. She takes control of a high-tech mining vehicle to rescue her family. She reaches the Doctor, Lily and Cyril just as the Wooden King and Queen prepare to transfer their essence. That sounds a bit... However, the trees recognise Madge as a more suitable host, and she agrees to help them, donning their crown and taking the forest into her mind.
To pilot them home, Madge focuses on all the things she loves, and grief inadvertently reveals her memories of Reg's presumed death to the Doctor, Lily and Cyril. The Doctor reassures her that her emotions have saved her family and the forest, despite her feeling them until it hurt. They fly the ship back to Earth and realise that Reg's plane was also guided by Madge's light into the vortex, and they reunite.
Before departing, the Doctor is convinced by Madge that he can't be alone at Christmas, and he decides to visit his friends Amy and Rory, who he thought believed he was dead. The episode ends with the Doctor joining them for Christmas dinner, feeling a humany-woomany emotion of crying happy tears.
Humany-woomany, aww.
Humany-woomany, go to jail.
Go to jail. There you go. Well, look, before we give you our thoughts, we reached out to you on our social media accounts. We're talking X and Blue Sky, and here is what some of you had to say. So over on our X account, Sam says, I have no recollection of watching this episode, but I know I must have at the time. Impressively forgettable. I didn't pre-read that, and I was like learning that as I was speaking. That was quite funny. Thank you for sharing, Sam. Laura, House of Kaylee, said, I really love this episode. I think Claire Skinner is so excellent. I'm not kidding. I cry so much at the scene of her pleading that she doesn't want to see her husband die. Every time it gets me. I feel you. The emotions were felt. I feel it.
I feel it.
At Teacher and Winch, and I've got to say, their Twitter name is currently the Duke of Alpha Centauri, which I like, just said, I loved it. Kyle said, it's not the best, but I enjoy the wholesome family vibes. And at Pity No Stars says, possibly the most forgettable New Who episode. Woo! This is spicy over on X.
I don't disagree, which has made this episode harder than I thought it would be. I thought there would be much more that's memorable about it. At Bad Wolf Archives over on Blue Sky said, I really like it. It's not perfect by any means, but it has a lot of heart, and that final scene with Amy and Rory is my fave scene in any Christmas special.
Oh, that's cute.
And then, I always say this wrong, I'm so sorry. I know it's dragon, but it's either draig or like thraig. I'm so sorry, Welsh listeners. Dragon says, if you ask me off the top of my head what my least favourite Christmas special is, I wouldn't say this because I would have forgotten about it.
Oh my God.
It's not that bad. It just doesn't really do anything interesting. I love how this is such a commonplace opinion. I'm just like, yeah, I don't remember it.
I that's just really got me, that one. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I think that it's a good episode, but it's not the most memorable. It's a good.
Yeah.
I just think it's a. I mean, we'll get into it, but I just think it's an all round. It's a good episode. Doctor, it feels quite mid season to me.
Gorgeous.
Well, what did you think of this episode, Alasdair?
Overall, what did I think? I thought it was very Christmassy. You know, I feel like something about the. God. I thought it was very Christmassy. I think the setting, something about wartime evacuees, and is that Christmassy? Feels Christmassy. Is it Christmassy?
Do you know what I think it is? I consider The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe as a very Christmassy film, and this is very emblematic of that. So it does give you Christmas nostalgia. I wouldn't go as far as to say World War II and the Blitz are Christmassy, but
no, it's a weird one that it's like a period that's romanticized, and despite the horrors, and so it therefore when made Christmassy. The house, the toys, the whimsical caretaker, the magic, the climbing through a present to find a forest inside your living room. There's a lot of silliness and magic all baked into it in this one. And I like how everything as well is sort of like translated into terms that a 1940s family will understand, and therefore everything's kind of written off as magic. But we all kind of know the sciencey Doctor Who sci-fi explanation for everything. Like, he's just flying away in his wardrobe.
I know. I like this episode is super whimsical. And we were saying before we started recording that it's just very, very Moffat-y, and you can kind of like pinpoint exactly what makes a Moffat episode Moffat-y in this. And it like has the Narnia feel. I really like when Doctor Who takes an existing property and does an episode like super inspired by it. It's quite funny that we're doing this back to back with Last Christmas, which was obviously super inspired by Alien and Inception, and now we're doing the one that's so clearly like inspired by C.S. Lewis. And with that mix of like Moffat whimsy and Narnia magic, it just makes for it's a weird thing because, like you said, it's a very Christmassy Christmas special. I at some point want to look at The Return of Dr. Mysterio because I think it's the worst Christmas special and it's not Christmassy at all. But this is one of the ones that like really did feel Christmassy throughout. However, what a cold open that it started. I kind of forgot that's how the episode started. Like it really does. Like, so I like when Doctor Who. We've said it many times, but when it like you meet the Doctor halfway through another adventure.
Yes, I love finding the Doctor on a side quest, and I like that this side quest is happening in 1938. That it's this like futuristic spaceship that is like human race. You are la 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 la, and it's like. The planet isn't even aware that this killer spaceship armed with cannons is there because humanity is at a point it wouldn't even know how to detect it. Yeah. And the Doctor's just kind of like, at some point realize that, I will need to deal with that 1930s invasion just to make sure that doesn't happen and be the guy to blow up that ship. And just kind of just being this like unknown guardian, I think is quite nice. And I think that ties in as well, doesn't it, with like the role the Doctor's meant to be taking at this time to be a bit more in the shadows, a bit more taking a back role, not taking the credit for things, just kind of helping out where he can. I think this scene really slaps. The effects are struggling. I think the effects now would look really polished. The music absolutely slaps. One of the best tracks of all time that I used to have on repeat. I love this so much from the soundtrack. I love the Doctor kind of leaping through explosions and pointing the sonic and dodging flames. I love all that silliness. I like the goofiness of him kind of dangling in space and being like, "Oh, come to me, nice spacesuit, come to daddy," and then kind of tumbling through space trying to catch up with it. The effects, I remember them so much better than they are. Which says to me that when they went out, they were totally passable. Yeah. Looking at them now, I'm like, it's him on a wire, kind of pretending to swim, and it looks like it. Yeah, I mean, when you compare it to like the CGI that you get in like Space Babies or something, like any kind of compositing like that, when you look at it now, you're like, these two things aren't the same. But I like you saying about the 1930s aspect. I really like the sort of stark. This whole episode has like
a real stark difference between like the Doctor's world and Madge's world. And I think this opening sequence is like the best embodiment of that.
Yes.
I like the way he talks to her, and like he's like, I got dressed in a hurry, when she was like, oh, why did you put your helmet on backwards? And like when she finds the fake TARDIS, it's just such a cute opening. I love Madge when she finds the phone box that they think is the TARDIS. She's like, well, I'm quite good with a pin, and the Doctor's like, it's a intergalactic, blah 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 blah. It's not really susceptible to pointy things. And she does it, and he's like, well, the last 900 years of space travel made me feel a little bit less secure. But it's just comparing that, like the Doctor's world to Madge's world, I think is really cute.
Yeah, I love it as well. I love when he lands upside down and says, I'm blind. It's so like, bitch, I can't see. Snap out of it, bitch. I love Claire Skinner as Madge. To me, like Claire Skinner is very much like the mum from Outnumbered, and like actually quite a comfort character from that. I don't think I've seen her very much at all apart from this and Outnumbered.
I sat behind her on a bus once.
Have you? She seems like someone who would be lovely. I'm sure she is. I love the character as well. She's like very kind in a way that she doesn't need to be, helping out this utter weirdo in a crater. She's a little bit cheeky. She's an outrageously bad driver, which was just very funny to me as well. Her just kind of pulling up by sort of crashing into things to park. Even when she's sort of taking on later in the episode like an entire forest's consciousness into her brain, she's just going, oh, this is marvelous. I found the way she took everything in her stride very funny. Yeah, she's good. There's another moment as well that I enjoyed, which is she's being apprehended by, I don't know what you'd even call these guys, 3 military people who are part of what are they, like the forestry, the intergalactic forestry,
the deforestationers. I don't know.
Bill
Bailey and his compadres.
Yes, are they? What do you call that? Is that a farmer? What if you're a tree farmer? Are you a farmer?
I don't know. Like fuel excavators. Let's call them that.
Sure. Excellent. And they like have her at gunpoint, and she's like convincing them like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on, to get them to put all their guns down. And then she just pulls out the Glock and she's like, call an ambulance, but not for me.
A crying's ever so useful.
It's very Exhibit B.
Yeah, I love it. There's a bit I really like at the beginning of the episode when she's talking to Cyril and he's like, where are you going? She's like, I've got to put out because there's a spaceman who might be an angel who's stuck in a crater and I've got to find him. Please phone teleport, blah, 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 blah. And like does this whole ramble. And then when the dad comes in, he's like, where's your mother? And he's like, out.
Yes. I also like they embed a bit of fairy tale Moffat in this, which just works, which is so how will I find you? And it's just like, oh, just make a wish. Seems to work. Make a wish. And it happens a few times in this episode that like making a wish just works. That is how you find the Doctor. And obviously the like in-universe explanation is like, it's a psychic message. You're projecting your mind into the TARDIS. But make a wish. Like, it's a nice injection of, I think, how Moffat sees the character, like coming off the back of Last Christmas as well, where he's like, in a way, the Doctor's like Santa Claus. And in this one, again, it kind of extends that with like, you could definitely pray to the Doctor if you wanted.
I know. It like, I just love the way that, I think that there's something so unique about the way that Stephen Moffat thinks of the Doctor and like where he is in the universe, like what his role is. Like, he is the wandering traveller, but he also is like the caretaker. I also liked as well that he's the caretaker in this, and then later 12 has his own version of being the caretaker. Yes, and I like that that's kind of like a mantle that the Doctor just sort of picks up and down every so often. Yeah. The one thing I forgot about this episode is that like how sad it is. Like, I remembered the plot, like I knew the whole Reg thing, but like the moments of like when she wakes up from the nightmare and she has the letter next to her, and like when the kids are telling her like, oh, say that thing you always say, it's gonna be the best Christmas ever, and the speech that she gives the Doctor about why she isn't telling the kids yet, and she said, I don't know why I keep shouting at them, and he said, because every time you see them happy you remember that they're going to be sad, and what's the point in them being happy if they're going to be sad later, and I'll tell you why, it's because they will be sad later. Like little moments like that, I was like, this is like again, maybe I was just a bit hungover, but I was like, this is gut-wrenching emotional stuff. That's
the best Moffat content, is Moffat on grief, is the best stuff. He's had time to think about these things and bank these somewhere in a diary / in the notes app. There's a ton of lines that are just waiting to be put in somewhere. It's very similar to the whole like pile of good things and pile of bad things speech to Amy that he gives about, the bad things don't outweigh the good things.
Yes, very that.
Yeah. So it's just a very nice, Moffat-y line. I enjoy.
I really like how he writes like Madge and how she deals with grief, because in that scene with the doctor when she's saying why she hasn't told the kids, she says Christmas will always be what took their father away from them and no one should have to live with that. And then later when she's trying to tell the kids what's happening and the doctor says, well, I imagine you'd prefer to be alone, and she says, I don't think anyone would prefer that, stay close caretaker. Like I just really like how she articulates her grief, and I think that she's a really interesting character. Like you said, Moffat just does have a good way of writing grief stories, but I think this is an especially spicy one.
Yes, she plays it really well as well. It's not overdone. It's very believable. It's a very authentic performance that I really like as well.
Yeah, fully.
I found Alexander Armstrong as the dad on rewatch quite distracting. I couldn't see him as the dad. I was like, oh, it's Alexander Armstrong from Pointless, from that letter defending J.K. Rowling, from Mr. Smith.
God. From Mrs. Smith. No, that's what I kept thinking as well. This is just an interestingly cast episode. Like Claire Skinner, I think is great in this. I really like her. But Claire Skinner, Alexander Armstrong, and Bill Bailey, like it's as if they went into like Taskmaster and they were like, who's available? Who can we get?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Bill Bailey was the one that I thought was as distracting as Alexander Armstrong. Like, I really believe that Claire Skinner is the mum, but like, I was like, that's just Bill Bailey. Like,
that's kind of, I think that is the reaction, and I guess like at Christmas,
it's a very Christmassy thing. Yeah,
we're still pulling the big names in. Who? Oh, it's a fun little cameo for you at home. But our first reaction on the sofa is like, it's Bill Bailey. There's no... It's not like, oh, I wonder who this character is. It's like, Bill Bailey is Bill Bailey from the future.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I like the casting of unknowns generally.
Me too.
In this kind of thing. The war is very abrupt in this. She goes from, like, in the living room, he's reading the newspaper about the war that's imminent, and she's like, oh... You need to stop reading about the war, because then the war will happen, and next thing you know, we'll be in a war, and then what? And then cut immediately to him in his plane, like, I'm going down! And then cut immediately to her waking up, going like, well, he's dead. And that all happened within about a minute and a half.
I did wonder when I first watched this, I remember being like, he was barely in it. Like, they got the guy from Pointless to be in this for 2 minutes. Like, really?
It was 2 minutes.
It does all happen very abruptly. And I didn't put two and two together until today when I was looking at this. I never really knew why they went to the uncle's house. And then, like, in like checking it here, I was like, oh, of course, like they're evacuating. It's the Blitz. But when watching it, I don't know if that's actually made like clear. They're like, oh, why do we have to go to Uncle's house? And she's just like, oh, well, that's what we're doing. So, yeah, maybe I'm just stupid, but...
No, it was super unclear. That was our one thing from our watch. We were like, why were they in the house? And it was like, they're evacuating. Like, but are they evacuating for Christmas or are they evacuating? Because it very much felt like we're evacuating for 3 weeks.
And then we'll go back.
And then back to London with you.
The episode ends with them still in the house, so I guess they are just evacuating for the foreseeable. I really like the house. I feel like this is a really good episode where you see Eleven's like childishness and like his whimsy when he's running around the house and he's like, it's developed a fault, and he keeps going like, I know. I like seeing the childish aspect of the 11th Doctor.
Yes, I feel like this is a time they were really, really pushing the Doctor as quite like a really British icon, and almost in a very like Paddington kind of way, where it was like, oh, look at the silly old Doctor, he's installed a lemonade tap and he's, made this amazing magical room for the kids and it's got hammocks.
Who needs beds when you've got hammocks?
Yeah, it feels like it was like around that like real peak like Britishness era that we were having around like the 2012 Olympics 1 year prior. So it kind of ties in with that. I think that's how they also like built the character a bit around this. Not like that's a necessarily negative thing. It's a little bit twee looking back at it. It's quite sweet. You had a really good observation right before this about like how the Doctor is kind of helping the kids deal with their grief. Like he deals with grief.
Yeah, no, when I was watching it, I was seeing how he is like overwhelming the kids with all this stuff, and I realized that the way that the Doctor deals with grief is exactly how he is treating the kids, even though they're not grieving yet. He knows they will be. And I like that idea because the Doctor wants to give the kids everything that they need. They can be entertained, they can have fun, but in doing that, he's not actually giving them any headspace to think about their grief. And that's what he does. Like, he's going to the next adventure and solving the next problem and doing the next thing, and he never actually gets a time to sit and just think and grieve and deal with his emotions. And I think especially like in the era of Doctor Who that we were in at this time, like just before we lose Amy and Rory and going into like the darker Series 7B Doctor, I think that it's interesting to see this personification of how the Doctor grieves or doesn't grieve.
Yes. This is, the right way to deal with it is just maximum distraction. Let's do a load of fun stuff instead. Make it a treat.
Lemonade!
Lemonade taps and loads of technology you shouldn't have in every room.
Well, what I think he does quite well in this is like play like almost like the fun uncle character, like when he's with the kids and stuff. Like who opens their presents early, and it's like, oh, I know everybody and that kind of stuff. I think that Lily, the girl, she's really good, but the boy, I'm so sorry to this boy. He graduated uni recently. Like someone said to me that, oh, this is Cyril from Doctor Who, and I was like, oh, okay, but that's actually quite weird to think about now at the age. Anyway,
who shared that? Who was that, by the?
It was Josh. Who do you think it was? It was Josh.
It's been keeping tabs, just like, oh, here's Cyril.
He was doing his rewatch. He's done a rewatch of every New Who episode this year, and it got to this episode, and he was like, "Oh, I wonder where the kids are now." And he like looked them up, and he had just like graduated, I think Oxford or something. But
good for Cyril.
Think he's so annoying. There's the bit like it's all throughout this episode, but especially for me, the bit when he is sat in the chair, and they're like, "Right, we've got to go." Like there is Aster, and he's like crosses his arms and goes, "No, I'm waiting for Mummy." Jesus, I could not put up with that kid if I was there.
I hated him. At that moment, I really hated him. For most of it, I thought he was quite sweet with his big glasses and his massive eyes from that. And he was he was thick. Like, he was annoying in that he like just wandered off for miles and got into a ridiculous, dangerous situation. And if no one had followed him and everyone else had stayed asleep, he would have just died in the acid rain.
Yeah.
No one would have known. Can you imagine as well, like, there's that version of the story, which is the Doctor was like, I got you a forest inside a box for Christmas, but unfortunately your son wandered into it in the night and died by acid rain. And trying to explain that.
But it's okay, it's one less kid to tell them about their dad, so.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it's true. There's an upside to all of this.
When she's like, oh, please don't let me watch him die, and the daughter's like, what? And then Cyril goes, Mummy, is Daddy dead? And I was like, oh. You know what? He turned up and he read his lines. That boy read his lines.
He is dead. He is dead. He went down, son. Yes. He yearned for violence as well. Like, he was quite, you're right, unaffected by, is Daddy dead? But also, he was like, oh, we have to evacuate because of the bombs. He's like, I like the bombs. They're exciting. He's a violent child.
Yeah. He's also really... I like the whole thing when he was like, oh, it's astrology. And his sister was like, stop making up words.
He's learned.
That's quite funny.
He's worldly. The only other thing I thought about the kids, I thought Lily was great. And I thought Lily works actually very well as a child companion, which was a really interesting thing. She very much serves the companion role quite well for a lot of this, in like the asking questions, offering a bit of guidance for the Doctor. What do we do now? How much trouble are we really in, type thing, which was odd because then I was a bit like, this is also a kid, and it's weird how easily we can just sort of substitute the normal companion for like an actual child. And
it still
and the
works.
Terrible danger everyone's in here as well.
Yeah. No, she was really good. I really liked her, and I liked the Doctor's relationship with her. Like he doesn't like talk to kids. I mean, the Doctor's never really done this. He doesn't talk to kids like they're kids. Like, she, a bit like what you said about how they kind of talk about this through the lens of someone from the 40s, and they turn up in this like version of Narnia, and she's like, is this fairyland? And he goes, fairyland? Oh, grow up, Lily. Fairyland looks completely different. And like, I like how they bounce off each other, but you're right that it is funny that you can kind of replace a companion with a child and it really not be much different.
Yeah. They were good though. I thought they played it well. Yeah. The actual like core of the story, I thought was okay. The idea that the Doctor had gifted this family a trip to this forest was a little odd. to me,
Yeah.
and had like just left it glowing in the living room felt like a strange gift and a dangerous gift.
Maybe irresponsible.
Yeah, and maybe it was just, a haphazard doctor thing, like, it was meant to be nice, but blah, blah, blah.
It's a very doctory thing to not think something through the whole way before doing it. But I was a bit like, if you just want them to see, like, a forest in the snow, you could have taken them to like Lapland or something. But I guess you wanted to see like the fantasy, the growing baubles and the like natural Christmas trees and stuff. I really like the Narnia-ness of this whole story, like the big old house, the snowy forest, all this. And I think that the Doctor fits quite well in that. But yeah, I like the bit when he just said, there are sentences I should just keep away from, when they were saying like, what could possibly go wrong? It all mashes together quite well for me. That wasn't a very coherent way of saying that, but I like it.
I think it was all right. I wasn't particularly engaged with, I don't know, like, we're all going to get melted by acid rain. I thought, are we? Are we though?
Well, for me, it was that, like, Madge, like, runs through the acid rain. Because when the, like, mechanical walkie thing that she was steering got to and fell over, I was like, wait, how does Madge... I couldn't remember. I was like, how does Madge get out of that and into the place through acid rain? And the answer to that is she puts her coat over her head. And she was just like, oh, don't go out there. The rain is dreadful. And I was like, that's acid rain, ma'am.
And now you're all going to die in this tree together. I did think, they hyped it up as like, you have to get off this planet. You have to get out. You're going to be dissolved. And then they all had like a pretty good window to be safe inside the dome for a little while.
Yeah. Exactly, they had a bit of time. But again, with the Christmas special, I'm never particularly like, worried about like threat and peril. And to be honest, I'm not even as worried about storyline. I'm willing to like overlook a lot of stuff when it's a Christmas special. But I liked the design of the wooden king and queen. I think they're quite memorable. We've had wooden characters in Doctor Who before. I can't remember the name of it, but that one with Bill.
But Doctor, where are we? But Doctor, I don't understand. But Doctor...
I'm not going to comment on that one.
Sorry.
No, I don't apologize. I really like the design of them in here. But yeah, no, I think that I like episodes as well where the monster of the week isn't actually a monster. Like that, like there isn't really a villain. I guess the villain's the people who are turning the forest into acid rained fuel. But the aliens who they think are abducting the children are actually just trying to like get safe passage out of the forest. And I like that. Yeah, I like that. My train of thought kind of went by the end of that, but I like it.
It's fine in my head, this story. It's like the trees are going to die, so the trees' spirits left, got inside a wooden headband that has been attached to Madge's head. So she carries all of their souls in her head, uses the magic headband to drive them through the time vortex, steering it, thinking of her husband, but then thinks of his death, which creates a star in the sky, and all the other trees become the other stars in the sky that guide the plane home. Except it doesn't just guide him, it physically leads him also through the time vortex to arrive on Christmas Day with her.
And a happy holiday to you at home.
And a happy... So that's just like, kind of like, I don't know, things just sort of happen. I didn't find it satisfying or tense. There wasn't really any tension in that for me. It was mostly just Madge kind of going,
fair.
For a while, and she's like, everyone goes, this is amazing. My complaint about that scene, I really don't like a montage on the screen of like, oh my God, it's Dad. It's all our memories together. I hate when they bring up like footage gets projected onto the screen in these moments when someone's remembering something and suddenly all the characters can see what they're thinking about. Bothers me. And it's obviously like shot through an old-timey camera. I'm like, why is that filter on your memories? Like, why is that tint on your memories? It's the same with like Bill's mum. Bill remembers her mum in The Lie of the Land. And all the screens, you suddenly have like, I don't know, just this like cinema camera HD footage of Bill's mum. I don't know.
No,
it just always looks funny to me. I'm like, I'd rather either see that depicted in a really abstract way or just like hear what you're thinking about and connect to you emotionally remembering them. But when it's like, oh my God, look, it's Dad on the screen. He's being projected in front of us. What's that? Is that the plane he died in? Oh no! I just
I do, but in the same time, I still find myself not emotional like crying, but like I think maybe it's in her performance. I really believe her as like a grieving wife, and when she's like, please don't show me the moment he died. I don't want to see him die. I was like, oh, it's actually really sad. But then you have that in the same breath as the Doctor going, do what I do, hold tight and pretend it's a plan, and like the silly in that. It kind of like, it's not that you can't have one with the other, but it's quite a jarring tonal shift.
It is. The Doctor's kind of just he's actually largely quite a passenger for this one. He did not have a solution to get everyone back out of that forest. They were toast. There was no way to get them all back out.
He would have literally said to Lily, he'd have been like, Lily, you got to do it. And they're like, oh, this might kill this kid. And he's like, listen, you're going to have to do it. Yeah. But then it's the mothership. It turns out it's the mother. It's the
mothership. Yeah. Yeah.
She does a lot of driving that day. She drives the harvester. She drives the spaceship. She drives a car at one point earlier in the episode.
It's a busy day.
Oh, she's riding a bike as well, actually. She rides a bike, she drives a car, she flies a spaceship, and she rides a harvester.
Yeah. To be clear, I did connect with it emotionally. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a ridiculous story. But I still did feel like jolts of emotion throughout it. I really did. And I think sometimes that's what matters with Doctor Who as well. You can be so nitpicky over the plot points and be like, that doesn't really make any sense. But that's not the point. You watch it to enjoy watching the emotional thread. I don't think it's really one of those episodes, especially not a Christmas special, that you're meant to sit and then actually like get out a flowchart and start thinking about the story in that much detail. It's not really that kind of episode where you're meant to start sifting through for all the deeper themes and meanings in too much depth.
No, I agree with you. It's Christmas. Like Christmas is for
it's
fun,
Christmas. You're meant to be drunk when you watch it. I think with that in mind, that's how really all the Doctor Who Christmas specials are meant to be watched. Are just absolutely blitzed.
Exactly. And it's got a cute, like, it's a very Christmas specially ending where everyone's reunited and the family are back. One thing, it's not so Christmassy, I just had it here on my notes that I liked it. Forest of Cheam reference. It's like, I met the Forest of Cheam once, she fancied me. That was like,
yes. Get that reference in. The crown, when the Wood Queen is like placing that on Cyril's head, I need to caption that with like, you drop this king, and use that as a reaction pic, I think, at some point. The tree prosthetics were excellent. They're the sort of thing that I remember seeing at the Doctor Who Experience a lot. I feel like those were always staples that were on display.
Yeah, no, I'm still so devastated that I never got to go to the Doctor Who Experience in Wales. Did you went, didn't you?
Yeah, like many times.
You probably met Josh there. That's so funny to me because he works there like basically the whole time it was open.
Crazy stuff. I feel like they will do another version of it, but with newer props, with time.
I hope they do at some point. They've done different exhibitions and stuff, but it just costs a lot of money. That's what Russell was saying. He was like, it was expensive and no one went.
That's it. I went. I'll throw in one more thing before we maybe come on to talk about the final scene. I know I just said, like, you're not really meant to nitpick this kind of story and you're meant to be drunk. Well, they were drunk when they wrote it because there were two other people in the plane. There were two other people on the plane.
I know.
Where were
I
they?
thought that. They're like, and you flew a whole forest and one husband. I was like, what happened to the guy?
The other guy who was like, we're going down. Where's he? He died. And also there was someone at the back who, he came to the front. He was like, ooh, Richardson or whoever it was. He's like, oh, he's not in a good way. There was someone else there too.
There's
assume he died.
There's 3 people on that plane. And
one survivor.
Merry
Christmas.
But it's okay because it's Christmas. Happy Christmas. Yeah, you're just not meant to think about it, I guess. We move. Sorry.
Ending scene.
Talking of moving, ending scene. Yes, I love it. I just wrote the Amy Rory cameo in my notes.
I love it.
Because I love it. I knew it was coming and I loved it. However, watching it in a weirder light now, because since we did our Wholala tour around Cardiff and we were looking at the house, I was just watching the shot of like Amy looking at the Doctor, and behind the Doctor I was like, that's the wall against like the bay. Like, that's the water behind him.
Yeah.
You can see the water
Yeah.
in the dark.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I'm like that London street where there's that big bay behind you.
Yeah, exactly that. I said that as well. We were watching it. I was like, we've been there. He was like, have we? I was like, yeah, we did that. I was like, oh, yeah, we did. We have been to that house. It's a lovely scene. I like that Amy and Rory have got their TARDIS blue door. I love what Amy's wearing. Amy stuns in new scene. Amy looks so fantastic. Her Christmas jumper's great. Her turning up at the door with the water pistol for the carolers is fantastic.
Are those carol singers?
Because I have a water pistol. I'm not afraid to use it. Rory kind of dawdling behind, and he's like, "Oh, not dead then. So we've done that."
I forgot that he left them for 2 years. I was like, "Oh, gosh!" It was probably quite a nice 2 years, like a chill 2 years, where River sort of teleports in every so often.
I was going to say it was a merciful 2 years before he comes back to make sure that they're finished off.
Yeah, literally. He's like, they're like, oh, what was it? Madge saying, like, you can't have them think that you're dead. Like, you've got to go whatever. And I was like, he does go back. And then they die quite shortly afterwards.
And then they die.
Yeah.
So Madge did condemn them. If he just left them be.
Madge was the nail in the coffin.
She did. Oh. She did finish them off. But I liked the ending scene. I thought it was sweet. I thought the idea of them always leaving a place. Also, what I found very gratifying is that finally the Doctor was willing to stay for a bit. He was so doctory to Madge when she's like, you have to stay for Christmas dinner. It's Christmas. Don't want to be on their own. And then he's doing his normal, like, nah, I got things to do, places to be, you know me, la, 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 la. And it was nice. It was like, he's finally having a sit down with some family, because the last time he did that, I think, is in the Christmas Invasion with the Tyler family. And it's like, finally, we're having a sit down, be vulnerable moment with your new family, which is nice. And it's annoying that we've gone back on that a few times now.
I know. But even like with the new series, like the whole point is that this is meant to be like the post-14 therapized Doctor. And then he's still, I mean, obviously there's a whole series coming, but like, feels like he can't be with Ruby. He has to leave her and it's goodbye. And then, like, he's crying and da da da. Yeah. I was just like, oh, no, I like it. And I like the humany-woomany, like, you know, humans cry when they're happy, and that it like humanizes the Doctor, that's how he reacts when he's with his family. I just think that's really sweet.
It is like the startled reaction of like, oh, that's a human emotion. How strange. I like that very much. I think this Christmas special coming will do something to address sort of leaving Ruby so abruptly at that critical moment. It looks like... Have you seen
the new ad? Like the ad where he talks to himself?
And he's like, oh, this is why you're always on your own, because you're so bloody mysterious. So I hope it does something to address that and say, you didn't need to run off. And there was another way of managing that relationship that isn't this big dramatic goodbye. And
having a coffee.
That's the thing. We directly said, why is it always this? Why is it not just having a coffee? Because I wish that companions could just drop in. I wish it wasn't like death sentence or see you in 20 years or
every
forget
Christmas
everything
is last
about
Christmas,
you.
Clara.
Exactly. Like just be normal. Be cool.
Just be normal.
Just drop in like now and then. Just have a mini adventure.
Or no adventure.
Or none. Just have a coffee. Having a coffee.
Well, I enjoyed this Christmas special. I think that all the critiques about this is by far, it's an interesting one, this, because I think often on Wholala we jump to 2 episodes, we're like, oh my god, like, love this, peak TV. And with this one, I really like it. It's not a perfect episode. To me, it's a good episode of Doctor Who. And I can't remember if I said it on the pod. I think it might have been before we started recording. I was saying that it feels very mid-season. Like Christmas specials often are like the special, like either bookends the beginning or the end of a season. And this felt very much like, because the end of series 6 was kind of cliffhangery, and that, like, you know, the Doctor's dead, but he's not, but everyone thinks he is. And then the next episode, Asylum of Daleks, is where you deal with the repercussions of Amy and Rory, like, now being on Earth and left alone together and what that looks like. So this episode kind of feels like a mid-season. This feels like the middle of a story. This doesn't feel like a bookend.
Yes.
And I think that that's quite rare for a Christmas special. So I really like it. I think it's just a good episode of Doctor Who.
It had moments where it felt like this was a Children in Need special. Like when he was running around the house, even in the way it was shot, there were things that I was like, this doesn't feel like a full episode of Doctor Who. Definitely didn't feel like as big and cinematic as some like the Christmas Invasion have felt. And I think it hasn't had in this one some of those really like memorable, iconic moments. There have been so many moments that have just remained so like infinitely quotable
Yeah.
from other Doctor Who Christmas stories. And I hate to just like lean on some of the RTD ones for this, but like, you know, like, have we asked about the royal family? Oh, they're on the roof. There's moments like that I think just like also like they really speak to a very broad audience, and it's humor that anyone can sort of get. Whereas this one, I enjoyed it, but this style of, I think, Moffat Doctor Who story, the very fairy tale thing, very in keeping with, I forgot which one it is now, with Kazran, I think the year prior.
Oh, the Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think is not always as much for a totally mass audience, because I think it lends itself to people who go, oh, well, that's just silly. Because it isn't
but it is
the grounded,
this
gritty
is the
Who.
thing. It is intended to be silly.
Because it is silly. That's part of the charm, is the silly is baked in. But I can see how that around this time, I think, did turn off a lot of people who'd grown up with a different style.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that Doctor Who wasn't always silly, but I think it really like it leans on the silly.
Yeah, I think that there's... you know what? I don't even have the articulated mind to say this. I don't care when Doctor Who is silly.
I'm too tired.
I don't care when Doctor Who is silly. I like it.
I don't care.
I like it. Well, look, talking about silly, I've got a little game to play.
Oh my god, have you?
I do. It is a little game of Camp or Damn!
Oh my word!
Now, for anyone who hasn't listened to an episode of Wholala before, Camp or Damp is a little game we like to play where we look back on episodes. No, we don't. We look back on moments in the episode that we've just watched, and we say whether they're camp or whether they're damp. Alasdair, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
The Doctor in his backward spacesuit, camp or damp?
Yeah, it's a little bit camp. He's a little bit camp. I think the two of them sat in the front of the car together, and him kind of being like, "Oh," it's pretty camp. It's silly. It's good. I think his whole tumble through space and flapping around is camp.
Yeah. What's quite funny is that his hair, when they were filming it, the Doctor hair is too like big for the helmet, so they had to bobby pin it all down. So there's these weird behind the scenes photos of him with like a really weird helmet hair where he's like all his hair is like slicked back. It's quite funny.
I love it.
And it was him in
Now
the
that's
suit
camp.
as well. I kind of thought it might not be like, why would you book him? But no, it was him in the suit.
It was.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Lemonade taps in the Magna Carta, camp or damp?
Is it camp? Is it camp? It's like again, it's like, is Paddington camp? It's like, not sure. Paddington's sweet and whimsical, but I'm not sure if Paddington's camp. Like Paddington's sticking an electric toothbrush in his ear. Is that camp?
Hello, Aunt Lucy. Back in 2011, we watched The Doctor, The Widow and the Wardrobe on the BBC.
You revealed this last night. You were like, I've realised I could do a really good Paddington.
I did.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna say it's one of those in the middle. It's
between.
not camp. It's not camp though.
Fair. And finally, Amy Pond, Water Pistol and Carolers, camp or damp?
Camp.
Camp.
Easy. It's
Easy.
camp.
That's an easy, quick camp, that one. Well, look, I've also
Yeah.
got some fun facts for you. So, Amy and Rory's role was reduced to a cameo partially because of Arthur Darvill's availability, because he was currently appearing in a stage production of Dr. Faustus.
Oh. So reduced to a cameo.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
know
I
what it
guess they
was
were going to have a
before?
larger role before, but I don't know.
Very interesting.
So, as opposed to minisodes or online prequels, this is the last regular episode to use the 5th and 6th season opening credit sequence.
Oh yes, and they use the series 5 and 6 time vortex
Yeah, they do.
quite
in the early
explicitly.
episode. Yeah.
I've learned to get over this, but I used to be quite bothered by the fact that the time vortex in the titles, I'm like, well, it's the titles. Like it's artistic. It's not
It's through a
literally
lens.
how the time vortex. Yeah. But like why the time vortex in show is so different across time. I've made my peace with it.
I still think that the series 1 to 4 time vortex is the best one. And lots of people tell me, actually, I don't know, Jodie's is probably a close second to that. Like, I love how with
Jodie's is
Jodie's, there's like the tunnels that you go through. But I just felt like it actually looked like a vortex. Whereas even the one now, like the cloudy one, it feels like, you know, you get those like rolling MP4 of like a loop of the time vortex just kind of rolling in on itself. And that's kind of what this one feels like. Same with the series 5 one as well.
Yes.
Bill Bailey was pleased to be given a comedic human character. He said in an interview, "The fact that I was almost playing a human means the expressions are easy to do. If I was an ood with a face full of tentacles, that would have been harder to bring the funny." I was surprised Will Bailey knew who the Ood were, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Do you think that was like baked into a press release, or is this like a real Ood fan?
Something tells me he's not a real Ood fan, so it probably was put into a press release. This one is fun. I didn't really think about this. So the story partly takes place on Androzani Major, and the Fifth Doctor's final story, The Caves of Androzani, takes place on Androzani Minor. So it's like the sister planet.
I thought that was nice. I did look that up. I was like, I've heard Androzani. Where have I heard Androzani? And that's where you've heard it.
Ugly. And finally, Reg says the line, "I'm sorry, my love," as he realises his demise is imminent, and it's the same one that River Song used in The Big Bang.
Yes, good spot. I think that registered somewhere in the back of my mind, but not the front of my mind.
The back.
Well, just rattling around the echoey bits.
Well, thank you so much for joining a slightly hanging me and Alasdair on this episode.
I'm so sorry.
It's
so
Christmas.
Sorry. Like, you've made it through one of our least insightful episodes.
We just had several
where we were
points
just
here.
like, yeah, it was all right. Was it all right? I think so.
It's a good episode.
I'm tired.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
If you'd like to join us for more sober episodes and even some more hungover episodes, you can reach out to us on all of our social media and let us know what you'd like to see next. We have decided, are we saying what we're doing for next week? Because next week's episode is going to be released on Boxing Day. So we're not going to be doing Joy to the World. We'll be doing Joy to the World the week afterwards. Do you want to let the kids know what we're doing next week?
God. Is it the one?
It's the one.
I'm excited for this, and I thought this was the biggie, but I've realised there's another one that's a biggie that we also haven't done.
Yeah.
But we're doing the Christmas Invasion
Finally.
at long last.
It feels so weird
Finally
that we
there.
haven't done it. I'd convinced myself we'd done it, but we haven't.
I know. The obvious other one that we haven't done is The Runaway Bride.
Yes, we have.
Have we?
We have fully done that one.
When did we do that?
We did it at the beginning of season 3 of Wholala, I think.
Brilliant. Good.
There you go.
Okay, good. Oh, we did it. That's why we haven't done it.
I thought you were going to say Time of the Doctor.
Oh, no. Oh, well, I'd love to do that one too. But no. Oh, that's good. Fine.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's what I meant. I was like, oh, we haven't done that one. Okay, great. Fine.
There you go. Well, next week we are doing the Christmas Invasion, so please reach out to us and let us know what you think of the Christmas Invasion on all of our social media accounts. We're on Twitter. X. Oh my god, let me see if I can do this. I'm over. We're on X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, all of which are at Wholala Pod. You can rewatch old episodes of the podcast on our YouTube channel, also at Wholala Pod, and send us your Doctor Who fan anecdotes at wholalapod@gmail.com.
Wonderful stuff. Yes, and if you enjoyed this episode, you can rate us 5 stars. You can follow us to get notified when new episodes appear. You can buy us a coffee, KO-FI coffee, and you can share this episode with someone you think will really enjoy it, or one of the ones that's better.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week. But in the meantime, have a very Merry Christmas. Lots of love from us, and we will see you on Boxing Day.
Mwah. Have a lovely, lovely festive period. Have a wonderful Christmas.
Mwah. See you soon. Bye.
Mwah. Bye.